I left Papamoa, finished my house-sitting job, and hit the road south. But before I crossed over to the South Island, I had to say goodbye to Jack. And it was hard. Saying goodbye to him at Wellington Airport felt like something out of a romance movie. We held onto each other tight, tears in our eyes, face to face, kissing and loving each other right up until the last possible minute. But underneath all of that, I knew something. I knew I had to do this part on my own. I knew I had to let go. I had to feel what it was like to be alone with myself. And I did it sober. When I drove onto the ferry to cross over to the South Island, I was still pretty new to caravan life. I was an amateur caravaner, really, and I was doing it with Bambi legs. A lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of tenderness, because this wasn't just a road trip. It was the first time I was really having to be with myself. It was getting reacquainted with myself. No partner beside me, no old life to fall back into, no familiar comfort to reach for. I had to learn to build stability within. It was just me, the road, my caravan Pearl, my Teddy Eckhart, and loads of feelings. And I kept going. I explored, I discovered, I sat with myself. And somewhere in that chapter, I started learning something about self-love that looked nothing like what I had seen online. My coach at the time gave me an assignment, mirror gazing. Awkward. It looked like standing in front of the mirror and not looking away. Literally looking at myself, honestly, and staying there long enough to offer myself full acceptance, long enough to feel that no matter what happened, I had me, and I was enough. That was one of the first steps. I was getting comfortable with my own energy, learning how to give to myself, and it was hard. What made it even harder was that I was still struggling with my decision to let Jack go. We went back and forth a couple times in that season. There was still love there, still attachment, and we did reunite more than once, because the love was real, the pull was real, the hope was real. But every time we reached toward each other, life said no. As painful as that was, part of me knew the truth. Our paths needed to be separate. We had to walk our own journeys without each other. Love, on its own, wasn't enough. We had work to do. And until it was finished, life would keep forcing us back onto our own paths. I stayed in Nelson for months. That chapter in Nelson was its own kind of in-between space. I kept hearing the same message come through. Give yourself time. Give yourself space. Fuck what people think. So I put myself on a strict budget. I learned how to do without even more, how to stretch things, how to simplify, how to live with less and still be okay. And that part was cool. It made me feel free. It showed me how much having things is a trap. Make money to spend money, more bills, more things. And none of that made me happy. That chapter deepened me. It was the beginning of me really doing life without a partner. I learned to connect with nature more deeply, and that when I was with nature, I didn't feel alone. That was a big one. Solitude in nature feels really good for me. The land held me in ways people couldn't. The mountains, the lakes, and especially the waterfalls. The open roads, the quiet mornings, the cold air, the beauty of the South Island. All of it gave me somewhere to put my feelings, somewhere to breathe, somewhere to remember that the ground was still beneath me, even when I couldn't quite feel it.
I was learning who I was when I stood on my own.
That chapter changed me. I learned how to sit with the different parts of myself, how to accept those parts of myself and hold space for them with compassion, how to move through fear without immediately turning back, how to let nature hold me. Somewhere between the heartbreak, the ferry crossing, the caravan parks, the silence, the beauty, the fear, and the freedom, I was becoming someone who could build a life on her own terms. Not all at once, not perfectly, but truly.